Speaking of something that'll put us all to sleep, the comedy, ladies and gentlemen, hi chat room, love you guys. The comedy of Greg Gutfeld, and I say comedy because there's this illusion that he's supposedly doing comedy here. Like him and Jimmy Dore both have this, keep asserting the idea that they're doing comedy, where we have seen no evidence. As Shellenberger would say, this is probably comedy. It's potentially comedy. The show is potentially comedy every day, probably. Maybe there'll be comedy. We'll find out. And this is on his show, the show where Greg Gutfeld, a grown man, has a logo based on Garfield, and it's behind him. It's from the Garfield movie, even, not even the actual comic strip back in the day. So somebody made it for him, his mom or somebody, and they put it on the set, which is adorable, and also theft. So anyways, this is Gutfeld. This report, oh, fuck, May confirmed Trump's 2016 campaign was spot on. You think it's the same one from, you think they're going to play a Tailbi clip, or maybe he's there?
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody. All right. Now, you must remember when Donald Trump claimed his campaign was being...
All right, there's this weird thing where he, when he's reading a teleprompter, that, like, I guess angry sarcasm, yelling character is the thing that he does, where there's supposed to be a kind of almost Shatner-esque read that he thinks is funny or charming. And the weird part about it is that the sort of dopey, more energetic than he actually is character that he does while he's reading the teleprompter is if, and this might shock you, is even a bigger dick than he is. And so during it, he will shit on the panel guests in surprisingly cruel ways, especially if they're women. And I don't know if we'll see any of that in this, but this is just to get you kind of prepared for the little angry man shtick that he's doing.
Spied on, and the mainstream media called him crazy. Well, much like most things today, Trump ends up calling it correctly.
You mean like the stock market crashing as soon as Biden gets into office, and nobody being able to pass a infrastructure bill in this environment, and if Biden gets in, the whole economy will go to shit, and you mean that part?
It's like a white...
Or that, no matter what happens, we would all get vaccinated by military people in the parking lots of Walmarts.
Version of Miss Cleo. Don't remember her, huh? All right.
Jesus Christ. Look, when you need a graphic for the joke.
Of Miss Cleo.
Hold on. What? Oh, hold on. He's the something.
Was being spied on, and the mainstream media called him crazy. Well, much like most things today, Trump ends up calling it correctly. He's like a white version of Miss Cleo.
Orange. The joke is he's like an orange version of Miss Cleo. Which also doesn't work. Never mind.
Oh. Don't remember her, huh? R.I.P. Now, a new report from Michael Shellenberger, Matt Taibbi.
Yep, there it is. CIA, Public. It's from the newspaper Public thing. CIA had foreign allies spy on Trump team, triggering Russia collusion hoax. Sources say Tuesday.
And Alex Gutfeld at Public backs up Trump's assertion. They say the U.S. intelligence community, quote, illegally mobilized foreign intelligence agencies to target Trump advisors long before the summer of 2016.
Yeah, but they failed, obviously, because he only hired patriots who want to make America great again, and you can't corner somebody like that. This is a good question. Chat room, real quick. Let's say you were you were working for a candidate, or you were going to be in the even like a high up at the campaign, or you were in the campaign and you wanted to eventually, you were like an advisor with the goal of working inside the cabinet itself or having some sort of position given to you. And you're out and about, and some Russian folks start playing footsie with you to try to sucker you into stuff you know is illegal and would be damaging to your candidate before they've been elected. Again, in hindsight, when your candidate has been elected and was in office, there's this kind of inevitability idea, which at the time didn't exist. And the inevitability looked like he was going to lose to Hillary because he was an inserious candidate, but the people around him were like, maybe I can make some financial and real estate deals overseas for this asshole. He's not going to be president, but he might give me a good, a piece of the scratch. So they had more of a reason to go hunting for job opportunities than they did to actually act as, foreign advisors and go out into the world as representatives of the campaign. How many of you would actually, like, if you were working for a candidate you actually gave a shit about, and let's just presume that you love your country, and people came up to you and went, if you look the other way when we do this shit, we can, we'll guarantee you get into the White House, and maybe if you play your cards right, your opponent will fall out a window. Would you say yes? In all seriousness, no sarcasm, no nothing, for real. Now, if you would, do you think everybody else in your organization would? Probably not, if they actually gave a shit. But in Trump world, 28 of these motherfuckers were in contact, not just with like Russian, like connected people in corrupt areas of the world, but like that you might have to talk to bad people because you have to deal with world affairs, but like just the criminal class of all these fucking places.
Yes.
Yes.
This was before the election. The government and foreign powers actually spied on Trump along with others in his campaign in order
proof
to keep him from running and you from voting.
Well, why didn't they?
Making them lower than Joe.
Why would they do that? Why would the report about that and all that shit come out afterwards? And why would, if they were working with Hillary Clinton, why would she not release that report?
Joe Biden's scrotum on a hot day. Allegedly, the U.S. asked the other members of the Five Eyes, love their burgers. These are intel agencies from the U.S., Britain.
That's a Five Guys reference that's so dumb, I think most of his crowd is laughing at his attempt.
Canada, Australia, New Zealand to spy on Trump. In other words, that global criminal enterprise known as the Democrats first decided Russian collusion was true, then had their comrades look for evidence.
Which, of course, they didn't find any because George Papadopoulos, even though he knew of some criminality, kept his fucking mouth shut and didn't blab that the Russians were going to help him to the Australian diplomat. And oh, right.
If true, our spies illegally surveilled United States citizens for political reasons.
Right. So what do you think the chances are that that's true? Because Shellenberger and Tailbi say it is, when you've seen no evidence other than your own bias that Trump should, his asshole should be your spray tan machine. Besides that, what's your evidence?
But why, you ask? Well, Trump was the first real anti-establishment candidate to have a chance at becoming president, and the establishment wouldn't have it.
Well, he did. It didn't make any difference. And all this stuff largely came after that, came out after he used these connections to try and get elected.
So they committed to taking him out. And when he rightly suspected it, he and his supporters were mocked mercilessly.
Oh, the whole, because that dude was, by the way, when he says they spied on my campaign, literally the point he's trying to make is the dude who found out that there were Russian phones floating around during the transition in the White House because this guy was doing a scan to kind of sell this product to the government.
Accused of anything and everything. And then as a deflection, they used the P tape, which never existed.
Used it to what?
Yet the media lapped it up like Joe over a fresh bowl of cream rinse. Now,
what?
According to this new report, Intel
lapped it up like over a fresh bowl of cream rinse.
Related to this alleged surveillance.
Honest to God, I don't know where he was going with that. That he eats Brill cream or that he eats hair conditioner or what the fuck that's supposed to mean.
Of the Trump campaign is in a 10-inch binder that Trump ordered declassified.
Ooh, a 10-inch binder. Look at that.
Classified at the end of his term.
He ordered it declassified at the end of his term. And then all of his people went, if we declassify this, people are going to find out what they do know about us, and went, fuck that.
Well, he says 10 inches, but it's probably more like 6. But apparently the whereabouts of the binder are unknown. So where
Yeah, you know, the binder that actually exists.
Where could it be? Maybe it's in the garage with Joe's Corvette, next to the hooker that Hunter dismembered. Maybe it's under a pile of...
Jesus Christ. I guess you're going to skip past the whole thing about the dude who was caught lying about the bribe. You're just not going to bring that up in this whole segment?
Coke in the West Wing. Or somewhere no one would ever look, under Jerry Nadler's extra lapskin. And so they can hate Trump all they want, but he's protected by the same laws as everybody else. The United States Constitution doesn't close out with, this is all true unless we don't like you.
Right, but also you don't get to just engage in international criminality and get away with it because you're a second-generation rich asshole from New York who bankrupted a casino and yet still convinced fuckheads like this that you're a master businessman. Trump steaks, Trump water, Trump University, Trump video phones. And, oh, and by the way, that you're a traditional conservative even after years of having multiple abortions paid for by friends so the money doesn't come back to you because it might fuck up your prenup with one of your 3 wives.
You wanted proof of a deep state. The deep state just served it up.
No, they didn't. There's no proof of this. This is just, I mean, honest to God, this whole article might as well just be Shellenberger and Matt Taibbi yelling deep state. That's what this is.
And you might want to re-examine your own hate for Trump.
Why? Hey, asshole, see this whole giant screen next to you? I don't need to see another fucking picture of this dude as long as I fucking live. I don't ever need to see him again. But you know what you could fill that screen with? Any evidence whatsoever that this binder exists, that it can be tracked to something, and that it is what you say it is.
Because likely, it's also based on a hoax served directly to you by the same. And again,
how do you not get a laugh while swearing?
Trump called.
Yeah, like a couple of titters about that, but good Lord.
It while others played dumb. Or maybe they aren't playing. Here's a golden oldie from our favorite Lemon.
Maybe the biggest lie of all. Repeatedly, and with no facts to back him up, making the outrageous claim that the so-called deep state spied on his campaign. He did it again today.
But I hope it's not true, but it looks like it is.
It's not true. It's a lie.
Wow, that guy's really good. What time is his show on? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. He's currently wiping down the sneeze guard at a Yonkers Sizzler. Love that guy. I miss him. Anything more to add, Don?
All right. Well, we'll wait.
Is this not just an angry president popping off?
Also, by the way, you know, I like the Yonkers sneeze guard. It's a reach, but I see where you're going. The idea that he's no longer employed there, so therefore he must be a failed nobody. You know, like the rest of the plebes in the world who don't have a TV show. You know, fuck those people. Right, Greg? You know, you're a good old-fashioned man of the people American. Anybody who there's people who have TV shows and nobodies, right? Okay, it's a great gag if you can make it. Meanwhile, while the Yonkers joke is predictable and shitty and boring and what have you, and what's the word? Hack. You could follow it up with a piece of evidence. You could follow it up with a quote from the Taibbi Shellenberger article that slams this whole thing home, that brings it, that goes, look at this. They know this part. This is from, you know, multiple sources say this, but you don't. You have to spackle it shut with bullshit and sarcasm because there's no there.
This is not just an angry president popping off. This is a deliberate and coordinated effort to save his presidency, to cast doubt on the Russia investigation by repeating a lie. And that repetition is a key part of the strategy.
True, by the way. No lies detected there, Don.
Here. Because if you hear him say the same thing over and over and over, it gets into your head. You may even start to wonder if there's some truth to it.
Well, that aged as well as Nancy Pelosi's stem cells. And it wasn't just the media did.
Oh, okay, good. Ageism on that regard. Can we? Shall I just? Do you want me to bring up pictures? I don't even want to look at them of Trump looking like shit.
Denying it. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper said the same thing.
Did the intelligence community spy on President Trump and his campaign?
No, we did not.
How is this hairless tree sloth not in jail? We've imprisoned.
I don't know. You have the evidence. Show it. He just said that, and you're like, boom, blow it the fuck up, gut. Come on, man. I do it all the time. It doesn't even take me that long. When I need to back something up that I'm talking about, I just go find the article or find the indictment or any of the evidence that I have about it and just pop it right on the fucking screen. And I don't even have a staff that throws this shit on the screen for me. You lazy fuck.
Protesters for taking selfies at the Capitol while this guy lied under oath and also tried to subvert an election.
No, he didn't. And nobody was arrested for taking a selfie at the Capitol. As a matter of fact, the people who went in there and just did this like minor stuff, all of them got a pass. 3,000 to 5,000 people went through the Capitol that day. Only about 1,500 of them are going to see any jail time because they committed acts of violence and specifically there. But everybody else who went in there and just took a selfie stepped over drops of blood left by the cops that were pushed out of the way or the people who were assaulted as they got through, even when it was their own fucking people.
Obama.
There are plenty of maggots who left the Capitol that day who've never faced charges, who have Ashley Babbitt's fucking blood on their shoes, who have probably saliva or vomit from Roseanne Boylan.
Was asked about the spying allegations too.
The allegations are so absurd that even Republican-controlled committees, looking into it, have dismissed them. And
they have. That's the point. That's as we just saw in the other Shellenberger article. That's his complaint, is that these people who should know about this don't seem to know about this thing I've been told about by people who have a dog in this fight and are trying to get Trump back in office.
Attorney General Barr has dismissed them. You do not allow the politicization of the criminal justice system, the intelligence system, the military, right? That is stuff.
Yeah, including not charging someone.
That you keep out of politics.
Oh, really? I would say that Obama should be eating crow, but we know he prefers dog.
What the fuck? Is that like a Kenya reference? Like Africans eat dogs? Is that where he's going?
Do I have to explain to you that?
Yes, you fucking well have to explain. Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about.
He once ate a dog. I'm going to my grave making sure everybody knows that Obama ate a dog. It's in his book. So
ate dog in a country.
Where's the media and
when he was a child?
Dems on this story now. Have they learned their lesson? Sorry, if they were capable of learning from their mistakes, they wouldn't be Democrats. But it also must kill them that 3 reporters, Shellenberger, Tailbi, and Gutfeld, did all the work that they refused to do.
What work? And by the way, these Republicans control this committee. The complaint Shellenberger had was that they have it. Do you have any of these assholes on your program?
And these reporters don't work for legacy media.
Yes, because they keep getting fired because they can't back their shit up.
Perhaps because they're just too honest and too good.
Or they'll get the organization they're working for fucking sued.
They make everyone else look like the hacks that they are. Now, I'm sure if Trump wins again, those in power.
By the way, nice Benny Hinn hairdo shot of him. Jesus Christ. What is that? Is that a pancake? It's like a, what the fuck is on his head?
Will find another conspiracy to explain it or prevent it. They'll go after the voters like they always do.
Why? They didn't have to go after the voters. Again, even who went after the voters? Republicans went after voters. They assumed that Democratic votes for Biden were fake and that everybody participated, that people were double voting and dead people were voting and all this stuff. Now, they were at the villages for Donald Trump, and people have gone to jail for it. Everybody who's been arrested for voting twice or using somebody else's ballot to vote was a Republican who voted for Trump at least twice.
They're already hunting Trump and his supporters like they're egg rolls under the seat cushions at The View.
What the hell? Can you tie these things to anything?
And if Biden, this sputtering...
Everybody does recognize that most of the people in that audience are laughing at how little sense those things make. That like they're kind of just non sequiturs.
Desiccated mess somehow wins. Sorry, you have little reason to believe it's legit.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, if I lose, it's rigged. That's the whole.
Because in America, you're innocent until proven guilty, but that's for you, not the government. Because the government holds the power to deceive, spy, and ruin you. And
okay, first of all, fuckhead, then move, leave. It's one thing to not, to not, be a jingoistic America, warts and all, love this place. But if you believe that that's the shape of your government, you're not safe. You should flee the country and ask for refugee status in Russia at this point.
Also cover it up with a corrupt fake news media. So really, it's up to them to prove that they aren't guilty.
No, it isn't. No, you don't get to use an article full of blather and conjecture written by three assholes who are trying to like claw their way back to significance on the side of MAGA because they know that's where the subscription base is, and they were supposed to get this lift from Elon Musk, but Tailbi and him had a fucking falling out because Substack was going to run a Twitter killer app or some shit, and they got mad, and then I guess Elon Musk told Tailbi, "You're dead to me," and that was that. So these motherfuckers are having to like just do anything they can to bully their way back into the right-wing media to get people to sign up for their Substack bullshit and pay for their system. So it's all if anybody has a reason to make shit up, it's them.
After all, if they could spy on a president and then lie about it, imagine what they could do to you.
You get the... I don't think it was the energy of the read, but you could tell the clapping started right away, which means it's the end of the monologue, people can see it, and someone's holding up an applause sign.
After all, if they could spy on a president and then lie about it, imagine what they could do to you. Let's welcome tonight's guest. When this shark bites, you'll need last rites. Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary.
A little heavy on the foundation, Kev. Also, you'll notice that Gutfeld probably won't make a joke at his expense because he wants to work with him or make money off of him. So far, nothing. Moved right
A
on.
former Miss Florida Citrus, she never has to worry about scurvy. Host of the Morgan Ortega Show on SiriusXM, Morgan Ortega. If he gave a eulogy, even the corpse would walk out. Actor, comedian, and writer Jamie Lissow.
Right-wing comedian, I guess, is the idea, is the theory.
And she's the first author to weigh less than her book. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Kat Tipp.
She is teeny, but also you'll notice that he'll shit on her on the regular. I guess because he's not able to hit on her, or if he fails when he does.
Kevin, how you doing?
Great.
It's always good to see you.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm
Look at that kissing his ass.
happy that you're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I
That's
feel
it.
wonderful.
That's good. You should be. Now, let me ask you this. Coming from Canada, and you see how the media pushed this story, and now that the story's no longer there, they don't bother to go and correct it. Are they as bad or worse than...
The story is no longer there. They don't bother to correct it. The story's no longer there.
The media in Canada?
Well, we're not allowed any media in Canada anymore. You aware of that?
Yes.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau said no more media. So Canadians just walk around in bliss all day long. I'm not kidding. It's getting pretty crazy up there.
Yeah, but they target citizens. They tries to freeze bank accounts, but over here they pretty much tried to take a president off the ballot.
Yeah, this story is pretty interesting. Obviously, there's so much media attention. I want to make a note of something today that really blew my mind. I was looking at
Yeah, you're going to avoid talking about this story and you're just going to move on to something else because you know it's bullshit.
advertising data from last week. That includes unpaid media. So you look at entities that somehow scored stories in unpaid media on all channels. Trump got 80% of the unpaid media. Nobody else got any other time. The guy is sucking dry his competitors from getting near media. He's not paying for that media. So if you're Nikki Haley or Biden, you're saying, wait a minute.
Yeah, but you're coming from an all press is good press situation, and people aren't making a value judgment about it. If you're Coca-Cola, you don't give a rat fuck. By the way, I think a better example. Delta got way more free press, and Boeing with them, than, over the last couple of years than any other airline. Delta for killing a dog, Boeing for a fucking hole blowing out on the Alaska Airlines plane. Which, by the way, Alaska Airlines kind of dodged because everybody blamed Boeing. So if you want to talk about, there's certainly a lot of other plane companies out there, but all the free press went to Boeing. How do you compete with that? If you're on the other side of that, you're like, wow. How am I going to get the name of my airplane company out there?
Where's the fair time rule? Everything's Trump all day long, whether you hate him or you love him. That's pretty good marketing.
Yeah, it's his world. We're just living in it, which is exactly what happened in 2016. Everybody gave him time, and then he won. I don't know how it's going to go, Morgan, but I know if he loses, it's going to be rigged. I'm just kidding. Yo, Morgan, what do you think? It's kind of bizarre.
He's not kidding.
Bizarre how everything that Trump says is going to happen or has happened, it always turns out that he's at least directionally true.
Stock market, wages, unemployment, infrastructure, rescue package.
Yeah, and when he first said...
By the way, notice how there's these huge gaps in prediction. Never mind the shit he was wrong about. But he didn't make predictions about, he's like, if I lose, Russia's going to attack Ukraine. If I lose, Hamas is going to attack Israel. If he never does any of that shit. That's just in this amorphous zone of it looking backwards. Retrospectively, he can look at the rear view mirror and go, if I was there, it never would have happened. But he didn't predict any of that shit. Meanwhile, it's in the direction that Mexico's paying for the wall kind of now, right? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
That you think, well, that can't be true. That sounds crazy. And then it turns out to be true.
No, it doesn't. It's not true. It's a story. We need proof of some sort. It's an extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and there is none. Again, how many times these motherfuckers are like, all these anonymous sources talking about Trump, and this is all bullshit. You want to know bullshit? If it says anonymous source, it's a fucking bullshit. The minute the anonymous source is on their side, all of a sudden it's like, this is evidence. We're up to our eyeballs in evidence.
Listen, John Durham, the special counsel, did a 4-year investigation. And
yes, I have it on tape. Basically, it's 3 hours. And that's just the Cliff Notes version.
Which he basically concluded, yeah, this really was a hoax. This was unfounded. The problem is where's the accountability in any of this? I don't recall really anybody, getting fired from the FBI or the CIA or how to.
Yeah, that you would need cause, not conjecture. And you would need evidence. Otherwise, the problem is, there were people who got fired, and many of them sued and got their benefits back. Peter Strzok, etc. So for the record, there were people who got fired, and there were people that Trump fired because they were getting too close.
Accountable. Instead, they all get cable news contracts. And
you do realize where you are, right?
as somebody who went into the intelligence community after 9/11 because I wanted to serve my country after that happened, it has been so frustrating to see the intelligence community turn into something that's attacking our political process. If you want to talk about attacking democracy, this is attacking democracy.
No, I mean, the idea is that these are allegations that they're attacking democracy, and you can say that, but if you're willing to take those allegations on face value and with no evidence, then you're the one attacking democracy. That's how it works. And if you line up a bunch of, proof points, and you're wrong later, but you're like, this and this and this and this and this and this and this led me to believe this, as opposed to, we just read this story from these assholes, and a bunch of sources who they won't name and can't name say there's a binder no one's ever seen in a vault that nobody knows about, that's either 17, 20, or 50 pages, and it's either a 10-inch binder or 3 binders, or not a binder at all. Think about it. Those are the details you and I have heard about this fucking binder story in the last 72 hours, as they've been talking about since their stories come out, and they've been following this for fuck's sake, right? 17 pages or 20 pages, a binder or 3 binders, 10 inches, and it's there in a vault, or it's not, or Trump has it, and that's why they raided Mar-a-Lago, was to find the binder, which they may have not found. So it's somewhere, but if Trump has it, he still hasn't released it because it exonerates him, because he's waiting for the right moment to exonerate himself. Just like Zlochevsky and his audio tapes of Biden talking to him that he's saving for a rainy day. Motherfucker.
You're politicizing a community that is supposed to be there to protect the homeland.
That's right. Jamie, I didn't write this question.
Okay.
Does the CIA spying on Trump remind you of when you would spy on your wife and kids while they were enjoying their very happy new life without you?
Wow. Yeah, I remember once
Again, I think don't respond to his joke as a comedian in that moment. This is the moment where you go, hey, Greg, I notice you've got the guts to joke about me and these 2 ladies, but you won't joke about the guy in the suit. Are you scared or something like that? Do you owe him money? Do you need his advice? Are you trying to suck up to him so you have a golden parachute? Are they going to fire you, Greg? They're going to fire you, aren't they? Aren't they? Tucker had great numbers, and they fired him. I don't know that anybody feels safe. It must be scary. You come into work every day, and no matter how good you think you're doing, you suck. Do that. Do a version of that.
my ex-wife was like, hey, quit spying at me through the window. And I was like, hey, you told me to clean the gutters, and then you locked it.
Lock the gutters? Or lock the window? Told me to clean the gutters and then lock the door, but not the wind. All right. So, okay. He writes for Gutfeld. That's who he is. Now we understand. Obviously, they needed somebody crapped out, and they took one of the writers and put him in the seat, and that's.
I think there should be repercussions. I think someone from the CIA. I think they should get fired. I think if
for what? What should they get fired for?
If you get fired from the CIA and you're surprised by it, you totally deserve it.
That works. That's a good joke. That's rock solid. There you go. If you're in the intelligence agencies, and you don't see it coming, isn't that your job? And you shouldn't have had the job in the first place. The premise is rock solid. That's good. He was holding on to that for a while. That's the joke he wanted to get to. The other setup joke was just Gutfeld being a dick to his guest and basically putting him in his place.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? Trump he's kind of always right.
Mm-hmm.
And
kind of, except when he's wrong all the time.
Is it? I wish someone would go, I was wrong, or there should be some. I was impressed.
You mean about Mexico paying for the wall, or the stock market, or the economy crashing after Biden got in immediately, or where the fuck is World War III? I thought we were on the brink like 3 months ago. Hey, Mark, you're in there. How you doing? Hope you're feeling well. Everybody give it up for Mark in the chat room. We hope you're feeling okay. Hello. I had to hear from other people. You were... I don't know which was worse. Which is worse, Iowa or Under the Knife? We don't know.
By Trump and all of this, especially when you go back, like his clips really do age well. And I was...
Yeah? Do they? The one where he said...
Michigan gave us Motown, gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
That one or...
Free health care for illegal... look.
Those kind of...
I was also impressed that they were spying on 26 associates. I was like, that's a popular guy, man. I only have one associate's degree.
And
think about all the stuff we didn't cover, like Hunter's laptop being...
What laptop?
Deemed Russian misinformation. I mean, we could have learned so much. We never...
What laptop? What laptop? I'm sure you have... Greg, make a joke about this guy having pictures of his family that he took through the window because they kicked him out and they're with somebody else. Make that joke, which is based on his stand-up, which you've heard, but none of us know what the fuck you're talking about, but he writes for the show. So you brought it up just to be an asshole. Bring that up again and then go, hey, you have all these pictures of your wife and your kids enjoying their life with her new husband, but do you have any pictures of the laptop?
One of my favorite stories, we never found out about cocaine in the White House. I think about it every day.
Yeah, it's a bit. Okay, so you think about it every day because it's a bit that you're still trying to hammer and people have moved on and it's boring.
I go, where did and people go, oh, come on, it was Hunter's. And I go, I don't think it was. I think Hunter, it wasn't his because there was some left.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the joke. That was that was the tee up.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, he's not. He's an addict, but he doesn't use anymore. So apparently, he's the strongest addict in the world. He can carry it around and not use it.
It is true.
Like if you're doing cocaine, the correct dosage is the rest of it.
Yes.
And like you're never doing cocaine, and somebody goes like, "Oh my God, we got way too much." Do you guys have Tupperware or something? Our eyes are bigger than our noses.
Yes. No one ever says I have leftover Coke lying around.
Never.
Yeah, come on over. There's some Coke over there.
Bill, you take it to work. If you leave it here, we're just going to do it all.
Would you like to take some cocaine home? Cocaine home with you?
Yeah, way too much.
These are clearly people who live and work in New York.
Kat, has anyone ever spied on you before?
Ew.
If so, you could probably relate to the Don. I remember one moment in which you were spied upon. Do you remember that?
Wait, no. What?
The guy with the drone.
Oh, yeah. But that was, yes. Doesn't that happen to everybody?
Yeah.
You
looked out a window. That's a great story.
Yes. Well, yeah, there was like a drone outside my window and I got out of the shower.
There was a guy from downstairs outside in the park with a drone outside her window.
Yeah.
You still have the controller, or did you run away?
Yeah, and it was like, and I put something on, and I was like, "Oh, it's too late for that."
Yeah.
But you know,
and they let off Ducey with a slap on the wrist.
Did they catch the guy? Police were looking for a guy with great timing.
Right? Yeah. No. Look, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's so good. I mean, these jokes are whatever. They're whatever.
All right, I'm sorry I brought it up. Anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. It's so painful. No, it's okay. Well, you were all being spied on, probably.
What is? And by the way, what's body language people? Does anybody know what the fuck this weird smile thing is? Let me show you this thing. Watch when he does this. He does this all the time. I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm sure one of these people who do body language stuff could explain what this is. You know, it's kind of like the tongue jut we see from Greg Kelly.
It's so painful. No, it's okay.
This.
Well, you were all being
that like raised disgust laugh because he's enjoying the fact, I think, that he's laughing about a drone spying on her as she gets out of the shower, and yet he's angry about being disinterested, women being disinterested, or maybe only because he's on Fox and it's that, you know what I mean? There's a lot of anger in that. Isn't that weird? Am I the only person?
spied on, probably, and
because it goes away so fast. Did you see this shit? You see what I mean? It's like that. It drops out so it's like this weird, fucked up.
Painful. No, it's okay.
Because that's a genuine laugh. She's uncomfortable. She's trying to laugh it off. She makes a joke. She's trying to move back to whatever referencing she was going to do. She's trying to think of the next bit, whatever. She's sitting in the middle of this bullshit.
Oh, you were all being
Look at this. And now watch him drop it. It's so fucking weird.
spied on, probably.
Look at that. It just like a fucking light switch. It's so like, it's such a like, I don't know. It's like a mask.
In like some sense, right? I mean, I don't understand how many times we hear these kinds of stories and people still kind of take the CIA at face value when they're like, we would never.
Yeah.
Because they often do. I even looked at I went back and looked at a lot of the media back when Trump was saying this. It was so much more than Don Lemon. I mean, the Washington Post, really mad at this place. And saying things like, well, spying's in the eye of the beholder, and it's all these different. And if they did actually kind of the reverse, which you're supposed to be curious as a member of the media and just being like, okay, we want to just come out and say this didn't happen. It really, I mean, this is explosive, that what's coming out now, but is it?
What's coming out?
Or did it?
No, it's not. Because it's not a thing. It's not. This isn't coming out. The report has not come out. There's no binder. No one has found this binder. This isn't the fucking Pentagon Papers. They don't have it. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about what you're not talking about, which is the FD 1023 report and the guy who faked that getting arrested for lying to the FBI. That's what this is about. The report, Shellenberger and Tailbi and the other reporter put this out effectively as a smoke bomb to cover that story so that it would give Fox and other sites like Newsmax something to talk about. So that they could say, see, Trump was spied on the whole time, so that they don't have to talk about the fact that the guy that was lying about Biden is going to jail. It's a wash. That's the goal. That's the gig. That's what they're paid for.
Really just mostly requires somebody giving enough of to check.
Exactly.
I feel like nobody does anymore.
Nobody gives a crap.
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody checks anymore, like on a story that makes assertions but has no evidence. It's funny. It's almost like you're talking about yourselves.
Crap. Nobody gives a crap. And you know what? The worst defense of the spying that still drives me crazy.
The big words.
If you're doing
You
nothing wrong.
used to say that all the time.
I know. I changed my mind.
Okay.
If you do nothing wrong, why should you be worried about spying? And then I realized there are a lot of things I do that technically aren't wrong, but if you ever saw me do it, you would feel really gross.
Why would they feel really gross? They would feel that you were really gross, I suppose, is the idea. This was supposed to be a joke about masturbating, I suppose.
Because I do, and yet I can't stop.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Right, okay, that's the... Oh, fuck. God damn, that's painful. That's that show. That's the opening monologue and the first round table of guests, and they put that shit out like it's supposed to be programming? Shit. Ouch. Honest to God, like, I don't know how do you crank that shit out? How do you... yeah, I don't get it. It's just ass.